Okay, we are back. We're calling the meeting to order. We're welcoming our guest. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Susie Holmes.
She's like, oh, really?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
And do I have a second someplace? All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. There's no report out of closed session. We'll go right into staff presentation, report from the Torrance Education Foundation.
Good evening to everyone here assembled. Hello from Torrance Ed Foundation. We're off to a running start this year, as I know all of you are too. On Wednesday night of this week, tickets are still available for the annual Jean Drevno Memorial Scholarship fundraiser at the Comedy and Magic Club. Tickets are $25. We have a few left. It's a very fun evening supporting the memory of Jean, who was a TUSD employee for many years and a wonderful supporter of students, especially students who had unusual needs in their academic careers. So this...
That's why she was my campaign manager.
Plus, she was Don Lee's campaign manager. Very important. The scholarship supports a graduate from the Sherry High School every year. So on our website, you can find tickets. You can call us at 310-320-7232 tomorrow. The event is Wednesday night, so if you'd like to join us, please do so quickly. We're underway with our annual fund campaign, raising funds, and I'd like to take a moment to call out Tammy Kahn, who has been a great help to me getting accustomed to using Peach Jar. So Tammy, wherever you are, the angel of Peach Jar, thank you so much. Our fundraising flyer is available on all campuses via Peach Jar, and we are raising the fall fundraising that we do every year to support the programs that the Ed Foundation brings back to our schools and our school students and our teachers. The next thing that's coming is another big project every fall. We have our annual Skechers Peer-to-Peer Friendship Walk coming up on Sunday, the 27th of October. We're just about to kick that off, and some schools have actually beat me to the punch and have already started that have done it before. This is an opportunity for families and members of the community to support their school as well as the Ed Foundation. Every $30 registration that comes in for the Skechers Walk goes back to the school that the team is affiliated with. The Ed Foundation also benefits from the registration because the walk also raises money from sponsors, and those funds come back to us at the Ed Foundation for the district-wide programs that we do. So there will be more information forthcoming the next time I speak to you about the Skechers Walk, but if you are a repeat customer and want to sign up ahead of time, please feel free to do that. Please be sure to check off the box for Torrance Education Foundation among all the South Bay Ed Foundations, because Skechers partners with all of the Ed Foundations in the South Bay. But to support the Ed Foundation in Torrance the most with the membership, that checkbox is important. So thank you all very much. Are there any questions?
The date of the walk, did you say? 27th?
It's Sunday, the 27th of October.
Make sure.
Yeah. And you can sign up to walk or sign up to be a virtual walker and stay home with your coffee, but still support your school and the Ed Foundation.
Nice morning, though.
It's a nice morning, it is.
Is there a link through your website?
Not yet. There will be. We'll be kicking it off in about a week. There is, you can go to the SkechersFriendshipWalk.com website and search for the team at your school. There's a whole sign-up process online.
Or you can wait a couple of weeks and it'll work perfect.
Yes, right. Exactly. Exactly. 2 weeks from now, we'll have more information about it available. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Report from the Torrance Council of PTAs.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody had a great summer and that school has started off on a good note for everybody. Torrance Council PTA and Torrance Unified hosted 4 free screenings of the documentary Like. This film examined the impact of social media on our lives, emotions, and mental well-being. They were shown on Wednesday, August 28th at North High and Thursday, August 29th at West High. We had a great turnout on both days. We had students from schools that came as a field trip, as well as parents, and we even had families from other surrounding cities that came and heard about the documentary. I also saw that some other parents were bummed that they missed out. They're hoping that this will be something that we will do again next year or sooner. So this was a great turnout for that. Also, Project BOSS, which stands for Bringing Our Student Supplies, packed about 400 backpacks full of supplies for students who attend Torrance schools to ensure that all Torrance Unified School students have the necessary tools to successfully complete schoolwork while at home and at school. These backpack supplies went to those students who are in the foster care and homeless system, as well as to the families that have financial hardship. It is also our 4th annual Halloween costume drive through Project Hope, which stands for Helping Our People Every Day. We provide new costumes to those students that are in the foster care and homeless program. We have about 70 requests so far of costumes, and if you're interested in donating, we have a Sign Up Genius link on our torrancecouncilptas.org website, as well as on our Facebook page. So if you haven't had a chance, please like our Facebook page, because we do update it with as much information as possible. Also, as a reminder, with Project Hope, we also have our fundraiser with the Angels Organization. You can still purchase tickets at $20. Terry has a flyer right there. The game is on Friday, September 27th, and it's also Mike Trout jersey giveaway night. Unfortunately, he's on the injured list because he's having foot surgery. Hopefully, it doesn't affect his MVP. But anyways, the last day to purchase tickets is on September 25th. And again, you may find the link on our website. Portions of each ticket sold goes towards our cause. So far, we've had over 100 tickets sold, which is awesome, but with as many students and staff and families and friends we have here in Torrance and other surrounding cities, I think we can sell a little bit more. And again, this is for a worthy cause, goes towards Project Hope.
Mrs. Reagans has a question.
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
This year's reflection theme is Look Within. Entries are due in October to your local unit. Categories are dance choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. So students, this is an opportunity to show your wonderful artistic skills. And we've had many students go on not only to 33rd District, but to state as well. So it'd be great to have Torrance representing out in state. And lastly, our membership drive has kicked off. We will be sending out the traditional Join PTA letter. We have updated the Torrance Council PTA website with all of our schools with different options to join, all in one place. Just go to our website, click Join PTA or PTSA, and follow the directions. And again, anything that you need or want to look for, again, go to torrancecouncilofptas.org. That is our website, and you can find any of our information there. Any questions?
Mrs. Reagans.
Actually, it's more a comment than a question. I just want to make sure you knew that there's a resolution on our board agenda this evening that is for PTA membership enrollment months of September and October. And I hope that everybody will think about joining your local PTA, whatever school is nearest you, or district-wide. There will be a membership available for community members, too.
Yeah, and please, again, PTA, is, that's what PTA is for. We advocate for the children, and by being a member, you have a vote on what is done, like resolutions through the state, through the city and everything as well. It also provides programs such as scholarships, Sacramento Safaris, where the high school sends students that are paid through PTA with your PTA membership to Sacramento to learn about budgets and everything like that and how bills are written and everything, as well as we also do gift to schools. So as a matter of fact, at North High, we were fortunate enough to donate calculators for math classes and everything. So as you can see, PTA goes a long way. It's not just, programs for the students, but also you advocate for the kids as well. So you have a right on what happens to your kids at school. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Introduction of student representative of the board, Mr. Egan.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Lee. I'd like to recognize our student representative for the quarter, South High ASB president, 12th grader, Yusei Fujikura. And here on behalf of South High, we have a special guest who's going to say a few words just to introduce Yusei to us, Principal Michelle Fournier.
Okay.
This is what this job has done for me. These glasses. Okay. Good evening. Yusei Fujikura has managed to strike a balance of academic rigor, activities, and athletics that is rare for most high school students. Having known Yusei since he was a freshman, it's been remarkable to see him progress over the course of the years and to take on additional challenges with ease and enthusiasm. Academically, I can't see you guys when I look up. These are new. Sorry. Academically, Yusei has taken almost exclusively honors and AP coursework since his freshman year and has maintained an impressive academic overall weighted GPA of 4.439 amidst his athletic commitments as well as leadership responsibilities.
About twice what mine was.
Outside of leadership,
Didn't hear that.
Yusei is a member of Science, Korean, and California Scholarship Federation clubs. Additionally, he is a member of our cross-country and track teams.
Wow.
Within leadership, Yusei has managed to involve himself in ASB for all 4 years, which is a difficult undertaking and takes tremendous commitment and sacrifice. South High student body has tremendous faith in his abilities, and he's demonstrated a commitment to serve his school. Prior to ASB president, Yusei served as his class president his freshman through junior year, giving him a solid foundation for his current position. His attributes lie in his ability to motivate others, team building, enthusiasm, diligence, and a hardworking mentality. Yusei is hardworking himself, responsible, conscientious, self-starting, devoted, selfless, optimistic, and a very thoughtful young man. He has an inherent ability to bolster other student self-esteem and is gifted at nurturing the leadership skills in others. This is a true quality of a leader, and it will serve him well as he continues in all of his future endeavors. Thanks.
There we go. Wow.
Good evening. So I'll just be talking about what we've been doing. So to start off the summer, we had a workshop to come up with new ideas for the year. And then we had registration for all of our students. And then we followed that by having a welcome week so that we welcome all our students because it was our first year with a whole entire week instead of just 2 days. And then we are still developing our fall sports pep rally, working on homecoming. Something new we did this year was we had meetings with every club just so that we can communicate better with them. We had a club day with no food, so yeah. We've been working on organizing our canned food drive with a possible car wash to raise funds for that. And then we had our first successful video bulletin. And our student section at football games is going really well with our greenhouse name. And one of the big goals that we've been having this year is to have better communication with clubs and organizations, and I think we've started the year pretty well with that. So, yeah.
Good. Thank you very much. As the student representative of the board, this doesn't happen often, but you are more than welcome if we are completely off base and have spun off to the third ring of Saturn and you need to bring us back. You're more than welcome to. Hit the little button, maybe elbow Mr. Egan a little bit to get my attention, but you're more than welcome to join in our discussions.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Good news, student presentations. Dr. Kim.
Thank you, President Lee. It's my pleasure to introduce two of our student leaders from Arlington Elementary School, Vivian and Madison Hallman. Please come on up. Let's give them a round of applause, everybody. Also joining us tonight is the proud principal of Arlington Elementary, Dr. Vicki Hath. So, lady superstars, please tell us what's happening at your school.
Good evening, President Lee, board members, Dr. Mannon, and cabinet. Hello, my name is Vivian Holman.
And my name is Madison Holman. We are Arlington's elementary superstars, and we are twins. Did you know we have 15 sets of twins at Arlington Elementary School?
We are also past members of Student Council. We are planning to run for Student Council this year as well. I hope I make it.
Me too. We would like to share some things about Arlington School this evening.
We are implementing this PBIS system, which is positive behavior interventions and support by rewarding students with PBIS Starbucks for being respectful, responsible, and safe.
As part of student council members, we enjoy being the positive role models at our school. We know it starts with reaching out to our community and our school. To enhance this positive behavior, we surveyed some students at our school on what they like about Arlington School.
Here are the top 10 responses. 10th place are the assemblies.
9th place is Gaga Ball. This Gaga Ball court was built for us this past summer by a Girl Scout troop completing their Silver Award project. Many of the girls were Arlington alumni.
8th place are Starbucks rewards.
7th place is Math.
6th place is Science.
5th place is PE.
4th place is YMCA Play.
3rd place is Students and Friends.
2nd place is Recess, and finally first. Can you guess what it would be? Okay, Madison, you announce it.
Okay, Vivian, it's the teachers. Of course it's the teachers. We have the best teachers in the world.
We feel proud to be here tonight representing our school. Thank you, board members, Dr. Mannon, and Cabinet for supporting us.
Thank you very much. Dr. Kim?
Oh, no.
Oh, Mr. Egan, I'm sorry.
Thank you again. I'd like to introduce 8th graders, Abdul Bawat and Travis Castro, here to share some good news about Casimir Middle School. And also joining us tonight and representing Casimir Middle School, Principal Susie Holmes.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Travis Castro, and I am the President of Student Council for Casimir, and this is another council member, Abdul Balat. And in the past school year, we, along with a couple other student council members, led the school and council in a fundraiser to help foster children in our community. The organization we teamed up with is called Together We Rise. They are a nonprofit organization whose goal is to help foster children by supplying them with things they need. Casimir Middle School held a fundraiser where we got donations from families in our school who wanted to support and help. None of the money we raised went towards Casimir because we wanted to give back and show we care. And because of all of the generous donations, we got dozens of sweet cases to decorate for the foster children. Sweet cases are duffel bags filled with things that the foster child will need, along with a teddy bear. And last year, during our school's Humanities Night, everybody got the chance to go into the classroom and decorate the duffel bags with markers and stickers and pastels to make them look really nice. Then, when all of the bags were decorated and ready, we sent them back to Together We Rise, and they delivered them to the foster children.
Hello, my name is Abdul Rahman Bolat, and I am one of the 5 people who helped in the Together We Rise fundraiser. Last year, we in Student Council were able to get about $1,650, which counted up to 81 sweet cases to help foster kids switch from carrying all their clothes and personal items in trash bags to duffel bags. We really hope we can keep doing multiple acts of kindness, positivity, and charity, and do this forever for the many and many years in the future of Casimir Middle School, and hope we can spread different acts of kindness to other schools, clubs, and teams. Thank you for listening to us today.
Thank you very much. It's impressive. Okay. If they want to, but they don't have to, the kids and the parents and the principals can leave now. But you can stay to the end if you really want to. That means you can go home and get all your homework done before 9. Okay, oral communications, non-agenda items. The Board of Education welcomes input from the public in order to discuss district business in an orderly manner for the privacy and safety of our speakers, and to help staff respond more directly. The board policies require that public presentations to the board comply with certain procedures, including speakers to non-agenda items may address only items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Time allotted for such presentations is limited to 3 minutes. Total time allotted to public input on non-agenda items is limited to 30 minutes. The speaker may not relinquish his or her time to another. When addressing the board, speakers are requested to state their name, address the president from the podium, and adhere to appropriate time limits. Complaints against employees or students will normally be heard in closed session, and the district's complaint procedure should be followed before discussion with the board. The board may remove disruptive individuals and order the room cleared if necessary. Any person who willfully disturbs any public school board meeting is guilty of a misdemeanor. We have one card. It is from Selena Hamilton. Good, there you go.
All right, I believe I have 3 minutes, correct? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Selena Hamilton. I'm very pleased to be here this evening and to meet all of you. I am here on behalf of all my fellow students from Torrance Adult School. We were enrolled in the medical assistant program, the evening course specifically. We just were notified Friday afternoon that that course was canceled after 3 weeks. We have studied, we have taken tests. We have purchased footwear, textbooks, stethoscopes for this class, to only find out pretty much arbitrarily at the last minute, it would seem to us, that the class was being canceled. Most of us cannot do the afternoon course as was suggested. So a lot of us have had incurred costs, and whether it was childcare or having to move around our work schedules, loss of wages for certain people. And we were told that the minimum number of students for the class was 18, and we were at 14. The number of 18 we were only told later on, but we were at 14, and the 14th student actually came in on September 11th, on the Wednesday, and we were told on Friday. So this new student actually started, had 2 days of class, and then was told bye-bye. So this evening, we are really hoping and asking you if there's any chance that you can help to reinstate this evening program. We don't know if there is. We know it has a lot to do with money and whether there are funds for this. But we implore you, we hope that there is some kind of resolution that you can help us out with. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. I know there's been some communication back and forth. I know there were some efforts made to make the class a little larger. I've seen all the communication back and forth. You would send an email Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, I think. You've got to work with, the board policy has been that adult ed has to stand on its own. We typically don't take money out of the K-12 budget for adult ed. So Dr. DeLugio, which I just blew his name, anyway, too many vowels for me, is the correct person to work with. I knew I think there was some consideration to buying back a book or something I saw in some emails going back and forth, so there's been some trying to make some accommodations, but it's,
So the chance of reopening that evening class?
Unless we get to that minimum, because we don't historically run those classes as a deficit, because as much as this one would be, we probably have canceled 17, 18 classes this year for lack of enrollment. And the other groups would be here asking for the same thing, and we'd be going, okay, how do we fund this? So work with the adult ed department. They're certainly aware of you now, and see what can be accomplished.
I just think that the greatest concern that my fellow students and I had was that why did this class even begin? if the number requirement was not met on the first day of school.
That's a question for the adult ed department, but yeah, and it seemed like they were trying to accommodate things this afternoon. I saw the emails going back and forth, so you may want to follow up with them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Discussion action items. Instruction to the public, speakers wishing to address the board on agenda topics are permitted 3 minutes per topic. Total time granted for public input shall be limited to 30 minutes per topic. Board policies require that public presentations to the board comply with certain procedures, including items 2 through 4 listed in oral communications. The first item is selection of the Board of Education candidate for reappointment, God, can't do that, to Personnel Commission Board, Dr. Mannon or Dr. Stowe?
To me, a motion and a second.
Move to approve.
Second.
For clarification, I know the board already has this information, but for members of the public, what the board is actually voting on is their intent to reappoint Gary Kuwahara for another term on the Personnel Commission. The board is actually not voting tonight on Mr. Kuwahara being reappointed. You're voting on the intent to reappoint Mr. Kuwahara. And on the October 21st board agenda, there will be a public hearing and then also an action item for the board then to consider the reappointment of Mr. Kuwahara. So tonight's motion is simply to address the intent of the board, and I understand this may seem a little bit odd, but it is it is in state statute, and it's also in our Personnel Commission handbook. Thank you.
Isn't government grand? Okay, and we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Anyone opposed? Good. Okay, next item, I will call on Dr. Stowe.
Can you make a motion?
Oh, we need to make a motion on the resolution?
Yes.
Do I have a motion and a second on the resolution?
Seconded.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lee, members of the board. At our meeting on September 3rd, John Isom, who's our financial advisor, gave a presentation on two things. This resolution, which would be the sale of $5 million in bonds out of Measure T for technology. And this was spelled out in the resolution that allowed voters to, that went to the voters back in 2014 for the bonds in Measure T. It was $5 million every 5 years through 2040. So we are at a time where we need to sell the second sale of $5 million, and so that's this resolution. The 10.4, I'll just address that, even though it's not here yet. This was the other item that John Isom spoke about. This was the refunding of $118 million in school bonds to save taxpayers money. And so to address item 10.4, we've got two people here tonight with us that three of you have not yet met. We have Don Field with Oric Public Finance. He is our bond attorney. And so Don has worked with us through all the different bonds that we have done and our bond sales and advises us in that way.
And before Don met us, he didn't have any white hair.
And at least he has hair.
And someone who will soon have white hair is Randy Merritt, and Randy is with Raymond James. They are our bond underwriter, and so they work with us to make sure that all of the bonds actually get sold and guide us through that process. And so I'm going to turn it over here to Don Field, who can address any questions and maybe briefly speak about this item and then answer any questions the board may have.
Great, thank you, and good evening. Maybe it'll be helpful, since there's three new board members, me quickly to run through the documents.
Yeah.
So before you on the first item is the issuance of the next series for Measure T bonds, and there's a resolution. That resolution sets forth the parameters for you to authorize the officers of the district to carry out the bond sale. It has a maximum principal amount authorized of $5 million. There's parameters in there for how far out the bonds can be issued or mature, and the maximum true interest cost that they could be sold at. So it puts parameters on the officers to go out and carry out the board's authorization to issue these bonds. In the resolution, you're also approving a few documents, one of which is a bond purchase agreement, and that is the agreement between the district and the district's underwriter, Raymond James. There'll be some blanks in there because the final terms of the bonds will be determined on the day of sale, the interest rates, the redemption provisions, and the like. So those provisions will put in on be put in the bond purchase agreement on the day of sale and finalized that day. Another document is the preliminary official statement, and that is a prospectus that the investors will receive to determine whether they would like to invest in your bonds. And that document has a lot of information about the district's tax base, but also the district's financial information. So it's very important for the board, since the board has a different perspective than the officers of the district, to look at that, and if you have any questions or comments, to let the district staff know. It is a document that is subject to the securities laws, so we want to make sure that it's a fair and accurate disclosure for the investors. And then the final document that relates to this bond matter is the continuing disclosure certificate, and that is a agreement that the district agrees to provide updated information to investors ongoing for the term of the bonds. It allows investors to have current information if they were to purchase a bond and then later on want to sell the bond. Other investors would have updated financial information about the district. So that's the summary of those documents for this matter. If there's any questions, I'm happy to go into more detail.
There appears to be none. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good.
Now, 10.4, make a motion and
Make the motion for the next set of bonds, the refi. Motion. Mr. Hahn.
Just a comment. I just want to express my gratitude to John last week. I was concerned about the timing of the bond because of the fact that the bond market, and obviously in the past week, bond market took a reversal because of the whole. So looking at that, I would really do appreciate these guys and what they do. I think timing is everything. So I just want to make sure that John knows that I was very appreciative this week when I saw the market situation. So thank you for all that you guys do.
Oh, thank you for having us on your team.
Move to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. Dr. So.
this is the, I don't know if Don wants to address, this is the refunding for $118 million and the amount of money that taxpayers will save over that period of time. So go for it.
Yes, and so there are very similar documents to approve in this matter. This is for a refinancing, and so the law only allows these bonds to be issued if they're savings for the taxpayers. And Randy's here to answer any questions with respect to the numbers, but the documents are again very similar. There's one additional document for this financing that you're approving, and that's an escrow agreement. Because the bonds that are going to be refinanced are not callable for a certain period of time. And so what happens is the monies that are received from the issuance of the refinancing bonds are put with a escrow agent and held until they could be paid, used to be pay off the other bonds. And so they will be invested in U.S. government securities for the period in which they cannot be paid off, and so at the redemption date, those securities will become due, and then the cash will be used to refinance those bonds.
And we don't violate any arbitrage rules.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes, Mrs.
But this is
Reagan.
a firm number of $118 million of refunding bonds, right?
That's the maximum authorization. So the principal amount that is authorized could, and compared to what is issued can vary depending on a number of factors. And Randy, you want to address that?
I wondered that, yeah.
Yeah, as Don mentioned, 118 is the maximum. So what we're doing is refinancing a basket of bonds from 2 prior authorizations. We may, depending on interest rates, do a smaller amount if that makes sense, but that gives us the headroom.
Good. We have a motion and a second. Before we do that, there was also news from Fitch rating agency that our AAA bond, so that looks really good across the board. In fact, what's interesting is even though these bonds are repaid by the taxpayers, you know, they're not repaid by the school district, they're repaid by the taxpayers, but they also go into our operations, of which they had favorable things to say about. So a AAA rating is about as good as we could get, I think. So can we get above a 3A?
No, AAA is the highest.
I figured we, you know.
It's as good as it gets.
This is something aspirational here, so I guess, just making sure. Okay, well, good.
Honors ratings.
Yes. Hey, you know, you gotta always reach for the next thing. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Good. Do good, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. We have the consent item, I think item number 15, to help me.
.3.
15.3 has been requested to be pulled. Anything else? Do I have a motion to approve everything on the consent, all the consent items other than 15.3?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 15.3, do I have a motion and a second to approve?
Discussion first?
You
Yeah,
guys, you can have
move to
discussion.
approve.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Mr. Gerson?
So when I read this, there were 3 items that my filter popped up that I know that would stand out in some people's minds. First, on the teacher aspect, I know that when they see solution tree, some of them grow a little anxiety. Seeing that there are teachers and teacher groups listed in there, we heard even at the last meeting, someone who, because of communication, didn't understand that he wasn't going to something or could or eventually chose to be a part of it. And that within this item, it doesn't show an expenditure limit, even though there are expenditure limits. So I wanted to ask Dr. Crumpy to discuss a little bit, just briefly, about how this conference will translate into what's happening at our school sites. And the agenda says administrators, site leadership, and resource teacher teams. So I was hoping that she could actually discuss who is participating in the conference now that a little more time has passed. And if she would also explain that the expenditure limits are in our LCAP, so that everybody knows that that's all there.
Terrific, thank you. Yes, since the 2017-18 school year, any of our trainings that have utilized Solution Tree have been site-based determined and have been optional based on the need of the school site. There are 13 people requesting to attend the RTI Institute. We anticipate approximate $1,700 cost per person, and it has been budgeted from LCAP Action 3.1. There's 3 different line items, 3.1.1, .2, and .3, for administrative PD specific to this, for site leadership teams specific to this, and also for district resource teacher trainings, specific to this. So they're all separate budgets. There are 9 new or newer administrators. I think we have one starting their 2nd year. So there are 7 new administrators, 4 teachers, 1 site leadership team member, and 3 new math resource teachers who have all requested to attend, including Mr. Egan and myself. Mr. Egan is in a new position, so that having a different lens to attend, and I'm also participating to kind of pull the group together so we can have conversations, throughout the 3-day conference. You asked a little bit about, the why and what we hope to accomplish. The Institute does provide us really unprecedented access to nationally recognized experts that we don't normally have a lot of access to. They're practitioners, which is unique. Often we get researchers. These are practitioners who have all successfully implemented RTI at school sites that they have run either from a teacher lens or from an administrative lens. We are hoping that the people who participate in this really have greater clarity in how to better implement RTI in their school sites, and most importantly, how to lead the process, including the building of highly effective school teams at their site.
Thank you. Now,
Thank you, Dr. Crumpy. Nothing, all those in favor?
I just has, actually, could you say something to in general, the items that we get on our board agenda are not this general, and they do have cost items and the number of people, et cetera.
Correct.
Identified. This is a little different.
This is a little different. The board item actually is asking permission to go out of state versus the conference attendance, but also just the timing of the agenda item, because we have hired new math folk and actually still one to hire. We gave all of the people until Friday afternoon to get back to us and let us know if they could arrange it around their work schedules, but the board agenda had to be turned in already, so there was a little timing issue to the numbers.
Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good, okay, we're down to information. The board calendar is attached. I will go to Mrs. Reagan's first, under comments from the board regarding Southern California Regional Occupational Center and other items she may see fit to discuss.
I know this is going to be shocking to you, Mr. Lee, but I have nothing to say about SoCal Rock today.
First time ever? First time?
I do have two events, however,
That's somewhat
that are
cryptic,
coming up.
but okay.
I don't actually have any anniversary increments to celebrate for our classified folks this month either, but I do have two events that are coming up. One is on October 5th, the Fall for Wellness Torrance Unified School District Third Annual Wellness Fair is coming up. And it's actually an event that will be held in the lawn and the parking lot here at this building. And will involve a variety of different folks that have health-oriented information to share with our community members of all sorts. So folks, families and students and parents, please come and other community members come and see what you can do to promote your own health. There will be some healthy food available and some healthy activities available and lots of giveaways, actually. It's going to be, I think, a really fun day, and a photo booth and cool stuff, so.
Cauliflower pizza, I'm sure.
Please do. Oh, I didn't mention, again, it's Saturday, October 5th, and it's 10 to 1. There will not be cauliflower pizza. I have to tell you, last year they did samples of a healthy version of pizza. It's funny that you should mention that. It was a whole wheat crust, and it had.
Tasted just like the box.
It had a minimum of cheese on it, and we
Anchovies?
did do sort of an assessment of people's preferences for it. The fact that we ended up with a number of pizzas left instead of having been eaten was a good indication that it was not. But based on that evaluation, we went back to the provider and said, okay, this was not very popular, we have to improve this product, and they did.
Yeah, they called
So it
Domino's.
actually served. No, it's still healthy pizza, and actually it might even be provided by Domino's. If Kathleen were here, she could tell us.
Okay.
But they did improve it, and it's better, so it really did serve a purpose.
Okay.
The other thing is October 13th through 19th is the week of the school administrator. So for those of you who have any contact with their schools or know someone who is an administrator at a school, thank them for all of the work that they're doing during that week of the 13th through the 19th of October, or any time, because they're really hardworking folks who try to keep the schools safe and make sure your students are learning and doing what's supposed to be happening there. So that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Hahn, anything?
For me, just a couple things. Number one is that for those of who didn't go to the Torrance Council PTA documentary, it was absolutely fantastic. So really enjoyed it. I wish that more kids could see it. I actually implemented something for me. I'm more conscious about my usage of my cell phone in front of my kids, and so that was my takeaway from that. But very helpful, very well done. I thought it was very well done, and so. But on top of that, thinking about that whole thing, I think that'd be great if we had a same kind of documentary as well on vaping. I think that is a next topic I think that needs to be addressed, especially that it is a highlight in the news. And I'm sure that people are thinking about conferences and like that, but I would like to see one specifically in Torrance, maybe at Torrance High School. It would be fantastic if we could have something like that as well, but something to that degree, addressing that issue, because it's a national, getting a lot of national attention for that. Yeah, and I think it'd be fantastic, because it's such a hot topic now in the news. And the third thing is, just for all the parents out there, kids' schools are starting, and just drive carefully around the schools. It is getting a little crazy.
I'm seeing
it
that,
is,
yeah.
to me this year, for some reason, just having two kids and just trying to get my kids to J.H. Hall and Torrance High School, it is kind of sketchy now. And so just for parents to drive safely, I'm guilty of that as well because of the fact that I'm competing with everybody else. But just to keep that in mind, it is getting a little crazy out there, but please, we're just worried about the safety of our children. But enjoy back to school night tomorrow for the middle schools and high schools, as well as for all the elementary schools. Great last week.
Great. Mr. Gerson.
No, all my kids had back to school night last week. And, because when I was thinking about the vaping issue, I remember when we were kids and they had the egg and this is your brain, and then they broke the egg and this is your brain on drugs. And there's a 17-year-old boy who gave his doctor permission because he had lung disease and was in the hospital on a ventilator, lost a huge percentage of his weight. And I was just thinking, a similar type commercial campaign where, this is you vaping and this is you after you vaping, and this poor boy who, of course, was on a ventilator and in a medically induced coma for a while. But what I wanted to talk about today was at the beginning of the school year now, and as classes get harder and there's a need for tutoring, the Torrance Public Library offers free tutoring to any kid who has a library card. It's super easy. They gave me some bookmarks. When you go to their website, they have a little drop-down menu that says youth, and the first one is homework out. And from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., they have not only a database of assistants, but they're actually live tutors that our students could communicate with. This is a program funded by the Friends of the Library. And you say, I'm going to give you these bookmarks to take back to your school. And I talked to Tammy Kahn, and she's going to see if we can get some more for the other secondary schools and to put into their libraries. So if you pass this down. Thank you.
Good. That kind of ties into the email I got last week from the kid thought we had too much homework, which I think I forwarded to somebody. Maybe I didn't. Okay, well.
Can I say something
I
about
agreed
the
with
library
him.
thing?
Yes.
Since you mentioned that, I did forget to mention that there will be library card registration at the Fall Wellness Fair. And actually, voter registration will be there, too, to talk about the new voting system and how you can be really involved civic community member. So, thank you.
I actually forwarded that email to Mr. Egan, I think. Yes, so. So there is a demand for the service. Mrs. Liu.
I don't have much today, but I do want to thank the California legislators who finally agreed on the terms for a $15 billion construction bond program that will now go before the state voters in March. This money will go towards public preschools, K-12, and higher education construction and modernization projects. It is our hope that the state, if this passes, the state can pay back the more than $15 million that they owe us here in Torrance. That's it.
Money's good. Just one quick thing. It's football season. High school football's fun. Go.
Yeah.
It's, it's the quality of football is pretty good, if not really good. Some places better than others for this season, but let's hope for everybody to be good. But yeah, it's high school football season, so, go just to have a good time and enjoy the pageantry and I'll say this for my wife, the band at halftime and everything that goes on. It's what is it, $7 or $6 to get in or something like that? I can't remember, but it's 7. Okay, so I mean, it's a fun 3 hours on a Friday night. So there we go. I will make a motion to adjourn in memory of elementary school teacher Kathleen Rattel and South High teacher Susan Sadler. Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.